Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffery Combs, good to be here with you on Tuesday afternoon, Facebook Live. Good to be here with you. I'm going to go ahead and type this in here. And there's a little skill that I've learned a few weeks ago that can actually send out notifications. Good to be here with you this afternoon on Tuesday, Facebook Live. I'm going to move into the inspirational portion in just a moment. Good to be here with you. Breathe, release, and let go. I'm going to let the call populate, then I'll move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. All right, there we go. Good to be here with you. Jeffery Combs on a Breathe, Release, and Let Go Tuesday afternoon. It is a very beautiful day in Central California, in Stockton, California. Good to be here with you. The topic for today's Facebook Live, the Tuesday Facebook Live, 4 o'clock. This Facebook Live originally was a conference call going back to started in 1999. And for 18 years, it was a live conference call at 10:30 Eastern every Tuesday night. And it maximized out at 500 to 1,000 people at different times in my career. So the topic today is your subconscious mind. What goes on beneath the surface of your higher self, lower self. Your subconscious is where we oftentimes live in our repressed or suppressed feelings. It is the program that keeps most people in anxiety, fear, and doubt from their sub-unconscious. And to be able to break through, to transcend that situation takes skills. And the skill starts with courage, which is a quality that never goes out of fashion. You have the courage to address the situation for what it is, and then you accept where you are, and you're willing to create the simple, subtle changes. So in any 12-step program, step 4 is moral inventory of self. Now that is a very, very big pill to swallow. And in coaching clients, many of the coaching clients I coach are in denial, especially early in our coaching. And this requires, as I said, a lot of courage to be able to look at yourself with rigorous honesty and understand that you are sabotaging yourself and that it's your doing and that it's your responsibility to do something about it. But if your mouth moves and you continue to complain, whine, and blame other people, you're playing the hurt, harm, blame, shame game, which many people do, which then will keep you in a place called denial. In denial, you cannot change. It is not possible to change when you are holding on to denial. Steve, good to see you. And Steve, I just saw a comment that you wrote 13 years ago in Facebook memory. So it's good to see you this afternoon. That is absolute synchronicity. The topic that I'm covering today is your subconscious mind, and I'm also covering denial. So when you are honest with yourself, when you're able to look at yourself without criticism, and you're able to access the courage to address your character defects, meaning your problems, your relapses, your anxiety, fear, and doubt, your brooding, your pouting, your being childish, a baby in certain situations, whatever the situation is, when you have the courage to look at that and you're honest with yourself, you're beginning the breakthrough factor. Because once you step into step 1 in any 12-step program, which is surrender to God, step 4 is moral inventory of self, not anyone else. You're out of the blame, shame, hurt, harm game, and you're looking at yourself. You're looking for the situation for what it is, not what it isn't. You're not blaming your husband, wife, your employer, your boss. You're not blaming God. You're not blaming anyone because you have moved into a state of higher consciousness. And in that state of higher consciousness, now you're accessing the truth. The truth will not set you free, but in beginning this process of letting go, the subconscious is the trauma your body holds on to. The trauma that your body holds on to is from sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and then generational trauma. And it's any one of these 4 traumas the body holds on to that will recreate a situation over and over to fulfill a feeling, which then will keep you in anxiety, fear, and doubt. So the Subconscious Mind was a book written by Joseph Murphy back in 1963. If you do not have the book, I highly recommend it. The term reprogram is what many people use. However, in context, you are programming, not the process is let go of the old and install the new. So is old. So you're not it's new now. And the new now starts with the foundation of I'm good enough. And in the I'm good enough context, you're sending a message from peace, from joy, from love, rather than scarcity, lack, and doubt, which is where most people operate from. You're in a place of abundance. You're in a place of peace. You're in a place, in spite and despite the circumstances, you're grounded. But when your sole focus is the problem and the blame, and I listen to it frequently where people go, and I've asked people, are you willing to change? They go, why do I have to change? Well, you don't have to do anything. But I encounter many people, is their signal to noise ratio, they're so locked in their trauma that they can't see anything else but their trauma. And so their negativity, their sensitivity, their defensiveness does not allow them to transcend this position they are in. Unfortunately, this is a large percent of society. And so then they try and make sense of the situation in denial, not understanding why they do what they do. You cannot transform when you're in denial. It is not possible. So when you're not open, you're not objective, and you're living in your unconscious, subconscious, recreating the same situation, this is when you say, I can't stop drinking. Well, that's not true, because you can stop drinking, but you're choosing not to, and your communication style will not allow that to happen. No one buys from me. Well, once again, that's because you're projecting that, and that's also your history of your subconscious. So when you're saying no one buys from me, what you're really saying is nobody loves me. So when you say I can't, that's because that was also conditioned into your subconscious. And that would be from a narcissistic parent, an adult child of alcoholics, people that traumatize you in the school system. And when you're told you have ADD and ADHD and you're a slow learner, slow reader, and you believe that, well, your subconscious will continue to recreate the same situation over and over. That's the subconscious. Then that becomes the amygdala, which is the pea-sized gland that searches for a familiar feeling. And then that becomes the reticular activating system. And that system, which is an emotional search engine for a familiar feeling, will find ways to be violated, traumatized. You'll find ways to brood and pout, and then pass the buck to someone else and blame someone else for your own character defects. But until you're willing to let go, which is the separation between the feelings and the events that shape them, look at your own character defects in a relaxed body. Step 4 is moral inventory of self. That means truth. And in that truth, you're accessing the courage to really understand why you do what you do. You're not giving your parents a pass, and you're not letting people off the hook who traumatize you. But you're also not confronting them, you're confronting yourself. Letting go of the feelings that linger from your subconscious that keep you recreating the trauma, drama, chaos, and the sabotage that you create to fulfill your low self-esteem. The breakthrough factor is letting go of denial. So if you're in a very challenged job, career, or relationship, your honesty is a breakthrough factor. Your denial will keep you in the same situation over and over with no outlet. And that's what many people do, is they live in an absolute. This always happens to me. You never give me any love. You never give me any respect. Those are absolutes. And those are gaslighting techniques that have been passed on to you by parents and other people. And then when you cast them on others, now you're the victimized victim, recreating being a victim to fulfill being a victim. And this is an epidemic. This is why many people want to blame someone else for their own shortcomings. This is why many people do not hold themselves accountable, because accountability is a responsibility. And when you avoid being responsible, then you procrastinate and avoid, and then you can blame someone else. And you're back in the blame, shame, hurt, harm game. So in letting go of the subconscious, whether you're 16 or 60, it's a skill set that requires objectivity, being honest with yourself, being able to look at the situation for what it is, not criticizing yourself, being honest with yourself, free of criticism, being able to look at the situation for what it is and practicing the skill set of letting go, which is the separation between the feelings and the events that shape them. I listen to people who I just can hear them. I just hear how stuck they are in this loop, and the loop of anxiety, fear, and doubt, with no belief and no outlet of being able to let go. See, many people want to overcome. You're not doing anything over. What you're doing on a ground level is you're learning to let go. And so you're letting go of the noise, you're letting go of the trauma, you're letting go of the drama, you're letting go of the story, and you're giving yourself permission to be present. It's in the present that you have the opportunity to change. So that's the value of a 12-step program or any structured process that allows you to separate yourself from your addiction. But if you can't separate yourself from an addiction, you're an addict. And I will ask people, why do you do this? They start telling me a story and I'll cut them off. And the reason is because you're an addict. You're addicted to the emotion that recreates the outcome that fulfills your feelings, that allows you to avoid being responsible. That is called the payoff. And when you begin to understand that, like understand it on a subconscious level, and it becomes conscious, and you're not in the, this doesn't make sense, or you're trying to make sense, and you're in your analytical, egoic, left brain processing, rationalizing, dictating, thinking, validating, and justifying, telling yourself, I can't, nobody will. And when you're in this whole loop, you're going to have the soul sucked out of you. And that's what many people do. It leads to food consumption. It leads to pornography. It leads to alcohol, vaping, tobacco, avoidance, and most importantly, under-earning. Many people under-earn and underachieve because it's safe. And the risk for reward factor is very low. And this is why very few people ever break through from a job mentality to free enterprise, because of the degree of difficulty that's perceived, and then the degree of difficulty, the reality. So when you bring those two together and start, your mouth moves, you're talking about how difficult it is, well, you'll be right. The difficulty is letting go of your ego. The difficulty is changing your communication style that you've been speaking for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. When your communication is filled with kindas and guess and I don't know, that means you're projecting your doubt. And the more you live in this doubt from the subconscious, you continue to age. And as you age, the compounded effect is happening. And so the negativity you had at 30 is compounded at 60 because of the experiences you keep attracting. When you come to a place and say, I can't do this anymore, the pain is great enough, the noise can stop. When there are no more cheat days, and people go, what does that mean, no more cheat days? So I'll say this 1,000 times. No more cheat days means no more cheat days. It means exactly what it meant. It means that you will not relapse today. You will go to bed sober in a relaxed body. And when your mouth moves, it's in alignment with your higher self, not in alignment with your lower self. But when you're a chronic complainer, a whiner, and you set people up to disappoint you, when you go out of your way to be narcissistic or challenge people that's unnecessary, what you're actually doing is eliminating and alienating them. And when you alienate people, good people in your life, who are there for you, and you don't hear it, you don't hear their compliment, or they're giving you wisdom and insight, and you're turned into criticism, well, that's, you'll continue to attract the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. That's why letting go is such a skill, and it's the most important skill you'll ever master, because it has so much value in so many areas of your life. Letting go in context is a separation between a feeling that's subconscious and the present, so that you can be the observer, not the participant. So the context means you feel angry, but you don't get angry. You feel the feeling, but you can separate yourself from it in a non-attached way. So when someone is challenging you that's not warranted, you can let the person go without feeling traumatized, victimized, or rejected or abandoned, and you're not telling yourself a story about it. You're in a non-attached state, letting go. That is the breakthrough factor, and the more that you can create that space between you and your past and the worry of the future, you're in higher consciousness. Jeffery Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. You have an outstanding afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go in a relaxed body.